gang, it has been a while. Welcome to Upfront with Frank Rothstein on skyscrescentradio.com. SKYES, crescentradio.com. I won't explain why the E is in there again. I've done it enough times. Just remember, there's an E. We're also broadcasting today on Facebook. Same thing, Skies Crescent Radio on Facebook. Also with my Upfront with Frank Rothstein page on Facebook. And if you find that name, my personal page, say hello to me over there. Sitting with me as always with her backdrop, doing her in her International Space Station theme. Once again, it is the floating Jade Zabrick. I haven't been here in a couple of weeks. Wow, yeah. Well, we had all the holidays, me being a nice little Jewish boy from Brooklyn. We had Rosh Hashanah, so now the new year in the Hebrew calendar is 5782, my new daily lottery number. Went to go see the family, and as I've explained before, from holiday to holiday, we rarely see vegetables. I was talking to a friend of mine, went to his mother's house, the in-laws and all that, they all got together. There's like 72 different salads and a couple of entrees. And then, of course, there's some other starchy dishes, one thing or another, potato or whatever. My house, my family's house, well, we had the turkey and we have the brisket, because you got to have a turkey. I don't know why. We had the brisket. Well, you got to have a brisket. And then comes out, keep tracking. Got a pen, everybody? Got a pen? Noodle pudding, mashed potato, potato latkes. If you don't know what a latke is, it's a potato pancake. Flat, fried up, done. Dip it in applesauce, really good. That's 3. Actually, there are 2 different noodle puddings there. Then my cousin was serving matzo ball soup. That's 4. Then, let me see, do we have anything else? Kasha vanishka, which is pretty much like a grain with like bow tie pastas in it, so that's 5. 5 different starches. Yes, the only thing looking green was me at the end, but me, I had to limit myself. I got to be a good boy. I mean, yeah, I know. I non-practicing diabetic who has to practice now. So it's either that or start sticking myself with a needle every day. Anyway, I limited myself to the kasha vanishka because it was like the lesser of all starch evils, which was really good. And I got to carve the turkey. My cousin's new trick is I should carve the turkey at the table. I promise you, you only see this in TV shows at the very end with a family file. Just before the credits roll, everybody gets to the table, or before a commercial, and you see like dad or grandpa standing up there saying, sharpening his knife, who wants what? And you never see them carving the turkey because it's too time consuming. So they do it with a smile on their face. But fortunately, the turkey cooperated and I did a good job. And it made everybody, my cousin and my brother, happy because I was able to get to skin. They like the turkey skin a lot. So I was able to let them witness me cutting the skin and how little of it there really is on a big turkey. And there is, it's not that much. But anyway, that was that. Then we played some games, and then that was that. We ate. Yes, we ate. Ta-da. Anyway, we do have a lot going on in the world. Jade's band, the Trainwalkers, they were at Arlene's Grocery last night. Saw a few video clips. They were rocking up a storm. Band is evolving. The band's evolving. There's like 9 people on stage. That's more people than a lot of bands you see. A lot of the big rock bands don't have 9 people. The Mavericks have 9 people. Yes, they are in common with the Mavericks. So this may like get Jay, but sorry, kid, you're in common with the Mavericks. 9 people on stage. They looked like they were having a great time. And from the few clips I saw, it sounded like a really good show. And you can always find out what they're doing at thetrainwalkers.com or jadezabrickmusic.com or jadezabrick.com. Jade's just going to skywrite or take like a billboard somewhere of all the .coms she has, because really Jade has a lot of sites. She really does, a lot of websites, between the radio station, her personal site, her band site, then she's always got her music somewhere. Jade can be found in a lot of places if you really want to look for her music, and you should. Okay, now where are we? I have a few stories from last week. Actually, I'm going to be talking a lot about COVID this week, at least in the beginning, because it's coming to flu season, by the way. It really, we're halfway through September. It's coming to flu season. Now, why am I mentioning flu season? Because a lot of times, to have COVID, you don't have to be in a hospital with a tube down your throat. You can simply think you're sick at home. It looks like the flu if you're not in the hospital. If you don't have it, it looks like a cold. It looks like a flu. And like a lot of other people, you may not know you're sick at all. But, it's flu season and people are going to be, coughing and sneezing, generally contagious, sometimes feeling like crap. Those flu aches and pains and fevers you get or whatever it is. And it could get very confusing for people to figure what you really have if you sort of look a little green in the face. And you say, oh, no, I don't have COVID. I really don't. But a lot of other people won't realize because no one's going to think about it. You know who's really not going to think about it? Well, the people who don't want to get vaccinated, who suddenly see you going, in front of them. They're not going to know. Neither will anybody else. Sometimes you may not know. I only have the flu. Oh, yes, it gets confusing. Now, why am I talking about that? Once again, all you hear is about people who don't want their masks. You know what I mean? I'm reading another article again where it says, it says, I got fired for not getting vaccinated. Can they do that? Well, yes, you can be fired for not getting a vaccination, unless there's something in a contract that says, no, you could be fired for not getting a vaccination. Now, there are some people who just have their feet dug into the ground, just a stubborn pain in the ass, and they don't want to do it. And they'll tell you about their God-given rights and their civil rights and their rights and their rights and their rights. Okay. Then there are people who legitimately can't get vaccinated. Maybe they're one of those who, and I know someone like this who is allergic to almost everything there is. I really think her diet consists of styrofoam, because every time I ask her what she's eating, so I'm allergic to this, I'm allergic to that. So I think she only eats lettuce. But my suggestion is, I can't, of course I would never make anyone do anything, but I know people are against COVID passports for, that you showed, like I want to see your papers. I understand that. You don't want people to know your business. But if you really have a medical reason that you can't, I simply suggest you get something from your doctor and carry it around. Because if you walk into a place and you see how I'm talking like I am right now, you hear how loud I am, how clear I am, look what's going on here. I won't wear a mask. I can't take a vaccine. I have medical issues. Well, obviously it's not my throat and my lungs. So what's the problem? So I really suggest that if this is the case, at least if you're going to say I can't for medical reasons, at least be able to show why. Not that your health files in general or anyone's business, because that is not. But it may mean your job. It may mean a lot of things. And this is such an extraordinary condition. And the reason I say that is because this works backwards. Again, I've said this before. COVID works backwards from everything we've ever seen in life. Everything we've ever known in life, this thing works backwards. And how I say that is as I've explained it. When your friends or your family get sick, somebody wants to help out, go over, help you out, bring the meal, drop this off. Can I get you anything? Something like that. This is the time not to say that. Your friends, your sick friend who really cares about you will tell you, no, stay away from me. You're in pain, you're aching, I can't breathe, I'm really sad. Somebody wants to give you a hug, they'll risk it, my friend. Someone's having a good time out there. No, don't give me the hug. Don't help me out. Stay away from me. Yeah, it's nice weather out. And, This just works backwards. So I know normally your health records are your concern, of course. I mean, doctors cannot divulge your information, but you know, I have no problem telling somebody I'm diabetic. I have no problem. I don't know what you got, but maybe a little less ego may be called for here. What else is going on as far as COVID and who's getting vaccinated? Delta Airlines, Delta, extra health insurance charges are getting the workers to get a COVID vaccine. And that's because, well, it says thousands of employees have gotten inoculated in the last 2 weeks since the company announced a monthly $200 health insurance surcharge for the unvaccinated. Yeah. Delta CEO Ed Bastian said the employees not fully vaccinated against coronavirus by November 1st would have to pay the extra money. Well, at the time, there were about 20,000 workers without it. Okay, 20,000 people want to pay 200 extra. Go ahead. Go ahead. But again, that's your business. No one is going to force you. No one can hold you down and force you to take any kind of an injection. I simply suggest it. And I know when you work with the numbers, I'm gonna read some numbers in a couple of minutes. Here's a story. I got this from CNN today. It says a heart patient died after he couldn't get a cardiac ICU bed in 43 different hospitals because there was nowhere to go. They're short-staffed. There's too many patients with COVID. Iced coffee. And Ray Pneumonia, he ran out of luck. Alabama couldn't get 43 hospitals. When he arrived in Alabama with a heart, he died. He was 73. Of course, he just got COVID somehow, and there was no way for him to get help. 43 hospitals. That's one case. Yeah, I told you about the flu season. I'm going story by story. This is New York hospital pauses baby deliveries after COVID-19 resignations. Got that? Again, I got this from CNN, but you can, I'm on Microsoft News, but this came from CNN. A hospital in upstate New York is pausing deliveries of babies because of the number of maternity unit employee resignations over the state's COVID-19 vaccination requirements. They don't want to get it. And that comes out of Lewis County General Hospital in Lowville, about 60 miles north of Syracuse. It's all the way up. And they will stop deliveries after September 24th. And that comes from Gerald Sayer, I guess, C-A-Y-E-R, Chief Executive of Lewis County Health System. They are unable to supply staff. They are unable to staff the service after that date. People are resigning because they don't want to get a shot. All right. Wait, am I done? Okay. About an hour before I came on, so I'm sure the number in the last digit has gone up by 1 or 2. Let's work with the number 1% because we know people aren't getting COVID or dying at 100%. Otherwise, I would not be here talking to you. Then again, with my family's genes, we're bulletproof. Anyway, right now is a round number. The global population, Earth's population is about 7.9 billion. Got it? 7.9 billion. If 1% of that population catches COVID, that is 79 million people. You got it? 79 million. If you go 1/10 of 1%, it becomes 7.9 billion. That's globally. In America, the United States, population, and I didn't go, I went to one of the world global meters census, 332,741,000 1,400 people. 1%, 3,327,414. 1%. If you go to 1/10 of 1%, well, you got the idea. You got the idea. 3 million, that becomes 300 and almost 50,000. That's that. But since the United States is not alone in people who are not looking to do what they have to do, let's stay with the global. 7 billion or 7.9 billion. That means 79 million at 1%. Okay. I was thinking of an old George Carlin. If you remember the comedian George Carlin, I always say he probably had one of the greatest minds I have ever listened to. He has an old routine, an old comedy routine called NIMBY. NIMBY stands for not in my backyard. It's not a new phrase. It's not in my backyard. He was doing it over people who always talking about, people who say, we need more prisons, we need more jails, more prisons, not in my backyard. And his catch line was, well, why not? It should seem, if you had a prison in your backyard, it would seem pretty safe, because what are they going to do? Break out and hang around? But now let's go to COVID for a second. I don't want to wear a mask because I don't know too many people, who have it. We don't have too many cases around here. COVID's not in my backyard. We don't have it. I don't have to worry about it. And yeah, you do. Yes, you do. Because you catch it the same way you catch a cold. You wake up one morning, you leave the house feeling fine, you come home from work, from school, from your friends, and suddenly you're sick. You caught something. Well, now it is in your backyard. And it took whatever amount of days for it to incubate for you to notice it. Well, who knows how many people you gave it to. You ever see that? Remember that shampoo commercial where it's so good, you tell two friends and they tell two friends and so on and so on and so on? That's exactly how it works, like a cascade. So anyway, reconsider getting vaccinated. That's my suggestion of the week, unless I come up with another brilliant one in the next few minutes. Okay, let's get off of COVID. I'm sick of talking about sickness. So I'm looking at this story today. This is actually from September 11th. This is only in McDonald's could you have this. I remember my grandmother, my mom's mother. We always, as a kid, if you wanted hot dogs, she always said there's pig's nose in it. Well, whatever. I like hot dogs. Anyway, what's inside of all these things you eat when you go to fast food? I'm looking at a McDonald's story. A customer vows to go vegan after finding a pig nipple in a bacon roll. You got it? Pig nipple they cut the bacon for the sandwich. I see the dressing, looks like ketchup or whatever on the other side of the bread. And whoever sliced the fat and the meat off the pig included the nipple. So this is they opened the sandwich up for one reason or another, and this is what they found. And this was a British man claims he found a piece of bacon with a nipple on it in his McDonald's bacon roll. I didn't even know they made a bacon roll. And says now he's becoming vegan because of his revolting discovery. Somehow I sense a lawsuit. But he showed off pictures of it, and yes, it is there. And he told this on an interview to Indy100.com. To open it up and find that it was revolting. All right, so that's what's going on. Yep, that's what it is. That's just looks like ketchup on the other side. I don't even know what's supposed to be under the bacon, but there you go. How disgusting. Then again, I remember years ago looking at a picture of a McDonald's thing and somebody left a condom inside of a quarter pounder. Yeah, it gets iffy back there. So anyway, on a more serious note, that's one of my stupid stories for the week. Which is not that stupid. Well, if you remember way back when in Columbine, the kids who shot up their school, in Florida, a couple of teenagers, 13 and 14, were plotting another Columbine. That's what the headline is. And they were ordered held at a juvenile center. Connor Pruitt, 13, and Philip Bird, 14, will be held in juvenile detention center for at least 21 days after they allegedly planned the mass shooting at the Hans Marsh Middle School in Lehigh Acres. Well, Philip Bird's mom says, let me see. It says here, he says just, I'm looking at this thing. He's just a little boy, Philip Bird's mom's Carrie Tuller of WINK. Yeah. He didn't really, well, he didn't think this was really serious. He didn't think they were serious. But I don't know how they found out, but someone turned one of the moms, I don't know, someone turned them in. They probably told their friends. One of them said, but they're just little boys. Well, yeah. And one of the moms said, well, they're innocent. Well, actually, yeah, they're innocent. You know why? Because they didn't get to do it. Someone headed them off at the pass. The old cliche, headed them off at the pass. They were charged with conspiracy to commit a mass shooting and are due back. Yeah, okay. They're going to go through the process and whatever. I'm not sure what happens to kids who are 13 and 14 in Florida, but this is what they were planning. And since anybody can get anything, someone's getting them the guns. I don't know if they know how to use it, but someone's getting them. It's incredible. It really is. Our new governor, Governor Kathy Hochul, is signing legislation that will ban the sale of new gas-powered cars and trucks by 2035. That's her proposed ban. Excuse me, that's her proposed ban. That way to help with greenhouse emissions and air pollution. So we all know the reasons why that's being done. Well, okay, but how many people do you see stuck in traffic when they run out of gas? And if you're going to plan a road trip, you better really plan out where you can charge these things up, because it doesn't, not like hybrid cars that go from gas to electric. These are all electric. You better know where you're going to charge these things up. And the same people who have the bad habit of running low on gas, they'll run low on power. Good luck sitting in rush hour for a while. That's the new plan here. Well, we'll see what happens with that. Yeah, well, what can we say? Looking at a story here, somehow whoever does, I don't know if this kid's going to keep his spot in Washington University or not, but I'm looking at a student at Washington University who was caught on camera tossing thousands of American flags commemorating the lives lost on September 11th. He put them in garbage bags, in like clear blue, like recycled bags, but smaller ones, like ones you'd have in your house. He's picking up these little, and they stick them in the ground, the little flags. That's what he's picking up, as many as he can get, and throwing them away. Called it a political prop upholding American hegemony. Excuse me, economy. I can't even speak right. Hegemony. Hegemony. I can't speak today. Anyway, Fidel Aklani is, he's stuffing the bags in the garbage. So I don't know what's going to happen. What's going to happen with his status in the school. I personally don't agree with it. I am not sure if it falls under your freedom of expression if you are on someone else's private property and removing it or not. I'm not sure what grounds he has to defend it, but it's not my idea of the right thing to do. Anyway, that is out of Washington University. Hey, anybody see the video of the people at the football game rescuing the cat? The cat hanging off the stands. It was like hanging on really by like a left paw with the claw. You see, and the cat finally fell, and I think a couple, they held out open an American flag, speaking of which, and like a net, like you see, like for the fire department, using a big blanket, a big net. That's how they caught the cat. They saved the cat. I thought that was pretty nice. But yeah, I like animals. If you listen to the stuff I'm reading, I like animals better than people. They're honest. I'm reading a story from a couple of days ago. Got this from Insider. Woman who said her $30 million jackpot win had ruined her life is found dead in her home. This is somebody who, in Ireland, who became one of the biggest lottery winners ever. She was found dead in her home. She won $37 million in 2013, and it ruined. Yeah, she said it ruined her life. Called it nothing but grief. Margaret Laughley, she was 56, was discovered by police at her $172,000 home in Tyrone, Northern Ireland on September 2nd. They're going to do an autopsy. They did an autopsy, I guess, but there's not a foul play. She killed herself. It happens. Suddenly you have all this wealth and your life is not the same. At the time, I'd say she was the biggest winner. She scooped up the jackpot by buying her ticket at a local shop, which she was printing off job applications. At the time, she was jobless, living on benefits worth about $80 American every week. She wins the jackpot. She had struggled with her mental health, 4 months later, was sectioned under the Mental Health Act, which means she was, well, to be blunt about it, they put her away for a little while. They had to admit her. Anyway, she later won her appeal against being put away. But the money brought her too much, whatever the problems were, it doesn't list it. And she killed herself. Yeah, for some, not everybody can handle that. I have no idea what would happen to me if I won $37 million. But, oh well. That said, what else is going on? See how I rub my face on camera? Get these disgusted stories. I don't like hearing that. I got this from TMZ a couple of days ago on September 11th. A Subway worker, Subway food, the chain. She defends herself in an armed robbery, and her manager suspends her. I couldn't believe it. Guy comes in with a gun, goes behind the counter with a gun, and I guess he was not intent on shooting her because she started fight after pleading or whatever, and he wouldn't. He pulls out this gun, and he wouldn't leave. She started defending herself to the point, he's wearing like a sweatshirt. He's wearing something with a hood. So like everybody gets into a fight with something while they're wearing a hood. The hood's pulled over your head. Now you can't see anything. So he didn't even shoot her in the leg. He wasn't going to use this gun, but she got the gun away from him and started hitting him in the face with it. And he runs out of the store. And this woman, Araceli Sotelo, is fired. And this happened in Rockford, Illinois. So I don't know why they fired her, why they suspended. Suspended. So they started a GoFundMe for her because this is really the wrong thing to do. I don't know, suspend her. She should get a raise, get a promotion, and be called a hero. She got the gun. She got rid of the crook, and no one got hurt. I think she did good. This is why I like dogs and cats better than people. Look at her boss, who suspended her. That's because now, in today's world, you're not allowed to stop the thief. You're not allowed to do anything. You've seen the news all the time. People go into one store, Walmart, Kmart, whatever mart you got, one store or another, and they're just grabbing stuff and leaving. And you're not allowed to say anything or do anything. Well, she did something. She saved her. She protected her life. I don't know if anybody else was in the store, but I think she took a big chance but it worked out for her. And I don't think she should have been suspended. That's that. What else is going on? Oh, here's an old topic I like. Transgender fighters in any kind of combat sport. And this time, it's Alana McLaughlin and wins her MMA debut. It says Anna McLaughlin, the second openly transgender woman to compete in the MMA in the United States, won her debut Friday via submission at the Combat Global Prelims in Miami, Florida. Well, keep in mind, I'm saying Florida. I'm going to explain why after this. 38-year-old used a rear naked choke. Well, that means Alana got behind her opponent, put her arms around the throat, and was about to choke her out. So her opponent tapped out and surrendered. Okay. 38-year-old used a rear naked choke against Celine Provost to end the match 3 minutes, 32 seconds into the second round. McLaughlin began her gender transition after leaving the U.S. Army Special Forces in 2010, and she hopes to be a pioneer for transgender athletes in combat sports. Okay, let me just, if you don't know what I just said, U.S. Army Special Forces, whether you are a Green Beret, or if you're in the Navy, a SEAL, or you are an Army Ranger, or whatever it is you are Special Forces. This is now a guy going in, claiming to be a woman, legally being able to beat up on a woman, because that's pretty much what happened. How this guy, Special Forces, was not able to subdue the female opponent in a shorter time, I'll never know. This is a 38-year-old guy, young and strong, fighting against women, really specially trained. This isn't just a matter of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. If someone here, if Alana forgot all that training, that's pretty bad. But to sit in there and go and to be able to fight with women, no, I disagree with this. It is dangerous, and Florida should never have allowed this to begin with. Now, wait, let me take some water for this one. Here's my water again. We all know I'm a big, big boxing fan. Yes, I am. Last Saturday in Florida, originally this card was supposed to be held in California when Oscar De La Hoya was going to fight a mixed martial artist who had like no boxing professional, like one boxing match, whatever, over the years, in a supposed exhibition in California named Victor Belfort. I don't know if anyone heard, but Oscar De La Hoya a few weeks ago came down with COVID. He was in the hospital. He had to pull out of the fight, understandably. Who do they dig up to do this? 58-year-old, coming up on 59, Evander Holyfield. California immediately rejects the idea of this fight, and they move it to the one state that would take it, Florida, to the Hard Rock Hotel and Casino. Now, that's the easy part, moving the show from here to there, sell tickets that way. Who's going to care? And they're still doing it on pay-per-view. $50, by the way. Why this is wrong? Evander Holyfield, I'm watching boxing really about 47 years. Wow. Evander Holyfield, well, he was never the knockout king, and he certainly wasn't the classic boxer. Not like when you think of Muhammad Ali's stick and move or anybody else, like Floyd Mayweather. But he was one of the great champions of the sport. He carried himself like the champion. If you saw him coming, you knew he had what was always regarded as the greatest prize at one time in sports, the heavyweight champion of the world. And now he hasn't fought in 10 years. He had some fight 10 years ago, I don't know, where he won. Now he's 58. He took it on 2 weeks' notice. I knew he was training for some other exhibition, so he wasn't exactly out of shape, but he probably stopped training for a little while, and that card fell through. And he gets into the ring against this guy with no boxing experience, but is a combat sport veteran of sorts, who sort of knows what to do, is also big and strong, about 200 pounds. And Evander Holyfield, who doesn't really speak all that clearly anymore anyway, gets into the ring, has no legs under him, misses one punch, falls face first through the ropes, almost fell out of the ring. Then he gets up, he's okay. Next thing is, yeah, the other guy's throwing Victor Belfort's throwing some more punches at him, connects with an uppercut. But I don't know if it was a great uppercut, but Evander doesn't have that much balance. So he goes down, but he's not really hurt. He knows how to take a punch, especially he could take one if it's not by a pro boxer. Next thing is he gets hurt. Belfort goes after him again. Evander goes to the ropes, and he's not throwing punches back because his reflexes are shot. He may know what to do, like all other older athletes. They know just what to do, but they can't do it like they used to anymore. And he gets stopped in the first round. Everybody, before the fight, after the fight, so many people were coming down on Florida for even allowing this. This was promoted by the Triller promotional company, whatever they call themselves exactly, Triller. They're putting on the freak show fights, the older athletes. Floyd Mayweather did it a couple of months ago against one of the, Jake Paul or Logan Paul, whichever Paul brother. He didn't look all that great. First of all, he's fighting a guy about 4 inches taller and about 50 pounds heavier, normally, because Floyd Mayweather is normally a welterweight, 147 pounds. Now he's coming in a little heavier. The other guy's about 180 pounds. And he wasn't exactly flying around the ring looking great. You can't, you just can't. But for Evander Holyfield, he hasn't spoken clearly when you listen to him in years. And now, I don't know what Florida is thinking of, but this is what they're allowing. This is just what they're allowing. And I find it to be a repulsive practice. Especially when you watch the older athletes you've always been a fan of, people you've always followed. I don't want to see them, it used to be like exhibitions or like charity events. So if Evander wants to get in with an old friend and dance around the ring and touch each other a little bit and raise money for one charity and another, that's great. Have some fun with it. I saw Oscar De La Hoya do it way back when. He did it with Shaquille O'Neal. It wasn't a real fight. And every time Shaquille at 7'4" came forward, you saw Oscar De La Hoya go into a shell. He was laughing. What are you supposed to do with this big guy? But it was, it's meant in fun. You see it in other sports. Old tennis players, they can't compete with the number one player today, but they get together with their friends, they have a few laughs, not looking to really beat each other like that. They're having some fun with it. They're joking, they have the mic on, and it just doesn't make sense. And boxing, this should have to happen. There's no reason they're having an exhibition where guys are going for knockouts, looking to really hit each other in the head. Have some fun with it, that's one thing. But to really have fights and call them exhibitions because you change the rules a little bit, it is extremely dangerous. And Florida should be, whatever sports athletic commission they have, should be really looked into, because this is now 2 events, dangerous, right on top of each other. Not good. What else is going on in the world here? Wow, the hour is going fast. Hey, remember that kid from a few years ago I was talking about? It's a woman who is now 19. When she was 15, Anissa Weir, Weier, 19. She's going to be released after spending almost about 4 years in Winnebago Mental Health Institute, because she is the girl who committed the Slender Man murder. This was a few years ago. If you Google Slender Man, you're going to see what the story is. But this is a fictional character on the internet that this girl somehow worshipped along with another friend, her friend Morgan. They got a classmate into a park in Milwaukee, and after a sleepover, and then they stabbed this person plenty of times. They were all 12. Well, now she's 19. Okay, so She was 12. Okay, whatever. She was a kid. Yeah, they left her for dead, and she claimed that they said they were traveling to Slender Man's mansion, and they attacked their friend because they thought it would make Slender Man servants, yeah, make them Slender Man servants, and prevent him from killing their families. This is a fictional character, and this girl is now getting out of a mental health facility. Well, now let's see who she worships this week. Just Google Slender Man, you'll see it. All right, back on the work front. Only in America, people. Well, maybe it's not America. Maybe it's everywhere. Amazon says they will pay full cost of all college tuition, fees, and textbooks for U.S. hourly employees. Yes, only in America. Because they need people to work. They need people to work. They said Thursday, it will offer to pay 100% of college tuition for its 750,000 hourly employees. Well, that shows you how much money they're making. That shows you how desperate they are for employees, because nobody wants to work. Okay. Well, I've discussed that before. Bribing people to make a living. I'm not crazy, but yes, textbooks can cost a fortune. But somehow, I don't know. Then again, McDonald's is hiring 14 and 15-year-olds to work in Oregon because they have no one working. So they're looking for kids. But then again, kids have been known to go out to work before. I was 16. I went to work for the local drugstore. I was delivering in all kinds of weather. I had an old guy gave me a nickel tip. Probably thought it was like 1940 again. I got a nickel tip. That's just the way it is. That is the way it is. Jade, I know your microphone's on. What was your first job? How old are you? Movie theater? What'd you do? Yeah, see, this wasn't too bad. It was that's what it was. Now you got to bribe kids to get off their ass to go to work. Oh well, okay. Okay, how long did you do that for? You you an usher, you had the flashlight looking at people in the back row going, hey, stop that. Okay. Okay. Jade went to work. I went to work. What's going on here now? This will actually a big ruling. And this is going to, when the case pops up in America, you're going to hear a lot about First Amendment issues. Australian court rules media outlets can be sued for Facebook user comments. And this says Australia's highest court ruled that media outlets are publishers liable for defamatory comments posted by Facebook users on their social network pages. The landmark ruling came after many mainstream outlets argued in vain that they could only be considered publishers if they were aware of the defamatory messages and meant to spread them. Okay, judge shot that one down and ruled that the outlets were responsible for offending comments by facilitating and encouraging discussions online. And the ruling paved the way. It says the ruling paved the way for a lawsuit by Dylan Valler, a former juvenile detainee who wants to sue publishers and broadcasters. That's going to be Dylan's new job, starting shit and suing for it. Okay, that's going to be a new income for people. This was actually printed in the Sydney Morning Herald, Sydney, Australia. And this is what it is. I'm trying to see what they're primarily attributing it to. It says Section 230 of their Communications Decency Act contributed to the rise of the internet by protecting companies from lawsuits. That's an American thing, excuse me. That's when President Trump signed the executive order that limited a 1996 law, which was designated to prevent internet companies from being treated as publishers. So that Section 230 is when when the cases come to America. Okay, so but we'll see what happens there. I'm not sure how that's going to work out because as big, as vast as Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, now TikTok, and so many other internet outlets are, if it's, I'm not sure how long it would take for them to realize that something is wrong. And even if it's a computer doing it, they have their algorithm of things they consider wrong, and they do get rid of, they do delete. They think it's hate speech, if it's this, it's that. But there are certain things that you can say that are really not blatant, that you can say and do that are not blatant. So this is ongoing, forever programming to adjust to language, to the language of people on social media. That means anybody, and since everybody is offended by something right now, if they're not being canceled, it is generally offended and insulted, and the delicate sensibilities have been touched. This can be an issue. And I think you're going to see a lot of cases for people who are looking to turn a buck. You see it now on YouTube and on TikTok. They call them First Amendment auditors. People who set up scenarios, situations where they're filming a military base, a police station, a post office, somewhere. I was watching a video who was filming a health clinic, a general health clinic where people, women and children go in, and then the police have to come. Then they start crying about their First Amendment. They're all publishers, by the way. They're all journalists. They're all working on an independent story. They're all independent journalists. They're all press. Nobody has any credentials. Nobody has a thing. They all have YouTube channels. And I already know in the state of Washington that it's been ruled that being someone on YouTube does not make you press. And I've mentioned that out here. Even if I design a press pass for Sky's Crescent Radio because it says radio, that does not make me press. You sort of have to be registered with the state or the city, and while you have it. This isn't like you see in an old movie where some reporter has like a press card in his hat, and everyone knows who you are. If you look at it doesn't work that way. It's not like you're looking at the television and everyone knows who this reporter is. But that's what's going on. Oh, yes. You're going to see lots going on. Well, I think I don't know if I mentioned this back to COVID, that New York will not be covering the COVID-related unemployment money when the federal money program ends, and I think that's already happened. So, yeah, there's already like an $11 billion deficit. So everybody who's in college, go to work for Amazon, you'll get all paid, get your books, send your kids to work for, if you're in Oregon, send your kids to work to Mcdonald's, they can help pay rent, but that's what's going on there. Wow, it's getting to that time. One of the things I do like hearing is in China, they have cut down the kids' time on online gaming to 1 hour. I got this from the BBC. Good. I think it's personally rotting kids' minds. Excuse me. Get kids out of the house, make them play. I just read, there's 2 kids in Florida looking to shoot up their school. I promise you, the internet is involved somewhere. I promise you. Get kids, they're watching too many games, listening to their friends in these groups. See what your kids are doing online. Don't let them have their own account. Look at their phones, look at their computers, look at their tablets. Look over their shoulder every chance you get. Believe it or not, when it comes to technical stuff, And maybe on some social issues, yeah, kids are a little bit better than I was when I was 12. But trust me, their social skills are sometimes so far behind what we were doing when we were kids. It's insane that they have no social skills. I see more 20 and 22-year-olds who do not know how to have a conversation. They just can't. They can't even get to, yeah, hello. They can't even get to how are you. They just don't have it. So good for China. Good for China. Don't let them do it. Yeah. What else is this? Here's another thing I cannot believe, only in America. San Francisco, that was the Don King line, by the way, only in America when he was promoting his fights. He always has a little American flag and whatever in his hands, gets into the ring as he was sitting there promoting these boxing matches. And with the success of it all, he talked to the announcer and always say, only in America. But yeah, only in America. San Francisco is willing to pay would-be criminals not to shoot people. You got that? Not to shoot people. San Francisco will soon pay some potential criminals, not even real ones, potentials, $300 a month not to shoot people. The city's Dream Keeper Fellowship will give monthly gift cards to 10 people deemed to be at high risk of a gun crime if they refrain from taking part in the city's alarming surge in shootings. Oh, wow. As well as $300 for staying out of trouble, those in the pilot program can make an extra $200 if they meet the other benchmarks, such as attending parole appointments and finding a job. Wow. It starts in October. Am I to believe that if you hand somebody who's really determined to shoot someone, especially if they're an addict, $300, that they're not going to shoot somebody, especially if they're an addict? They'll use the money to get high. But even if they're not, I mean, at high risk to shoot somebody, you think they're going to forget it for $300 a month? You can't live on it. It's going to be funded by taxpayers' money as well as private donations and a possible federal grant. How can this possibly succeed? How could voters want to go for this? But it was the program, it says, was inspired by one run in neighboring Richmond, California in 2016 that studies have said reduced gun crime by up to 70%. Why don't I believe that? Where are these numbers coming from? That's what I want to know. It says it also faced some serious controversy with a 22-year-old member, DeJuan Rice, getting sentenced to 40 years to life after admitting murdering 2 people, including a 17-year-old. That was in 2016. I can't believe who thinks of this crap? I mean, really, people who are high risk, determined to shoot somebody, the factory defects. I mean, you're going to give them 300, and I don't believe it's going to work. I just don't believe it. The mayor's 2-year initiative to invest 120 million. It says the pilot, which starts in October and plans to expand to around 75 people a year, is part of the mayor's 2-year initiative to invest 120 million in the city's Black community. It will be funded by taxpayers' money. That's where I left off. 75 people. What is that? What is that? That's nothing. 75 people. Oh, well, listen, whatever, right? Whatever. I don't see how it's going to work, but whatever. Now you have to have people who are sitting there willing to almost admit that they want to shoot people. We just got 2 kids arrested in Florida. Which also, here, let's go back to New York. Woke. I love the woke. New York City Democrat wants to make crime victims help their attackers. That's from September 1st. As I saved some of my oldest stories for the end. I didn't want to forget some of the better ones. And this says here, and amid an increase in violent crimes and shootings, in New York City, candidate for public office wants victimized New Yorkers to bear the burden of crimes against them. And that's by socialist candidate Tiffany Caban. shoo-in to earn a spot in the city council representing Western Queens in November's election. So what did it say? Communities will be empowered to develop individualized strategies to help heal wounds of violence rather than being forced to rely on policing and prisons as the only recourse. Am I to believe this? This is a policy from the Democratic Socialists of America back candidate in a non-competitive race. So she has no, okay, non-competitive, that means no competition. Her plan is titled A New Vision for Public Safety of New York City. Okay, somebody robs you, you got to work with them. Somebody rapes you, you got to work with them. Well, if they kill you, you don't got to work with them. But someone puts one in your arm, gotta make nice. I am not sure who thinks where these ideas come from. I really am not. And it does not mean that everybody I see down the block, walking down the block, who may do something wrong, that everyone belongs in jail. Obviously not. But we're paying shooters not to shoot, and we're holding the hand of someone who just beat the crap out of me. Good luck with that one. Good luck with that one. It's a crap plan. I cannot see how this works. Yeah, people will think it's a good idea until something happens to them. Remember, NIMBY. Attacks, not in my backyard. Listen, this is when I was talking about a while ago. Remember the guy this is from when Jade and I were in the studio, I started talking about this guy. Remember the guy I was talking about from a while ago who was in love with his love doll? It was a specially designed sex doll named Margot, and who he married in a wedding ceremony last November with dozens of guests. Well, I guess he's cheating on Margot because now he's in love with an ashtray, a giant ashtray. You know, the ones you put cigarettes in? He's in love with an ashtray that he wants to adorn with an artificial vagina. This guy, he says, we're the pansexual 36-year-old man of hairball of muscle, not even man of hairball of muscle. He's a hairy guy. Meet his bizarre new love. He goes at the club, of course. So he belongs to a fetish club, and where a lot of things go. You know what I mean? A lot of things go. So, okay, I don't know how he got to marry a love doll, but all right. Now he wants to marry an ashtray, or he wants to screw around with an ashtray. What is next? Maybe, for some hot sex, he can stick himself into a toaster. Well, hey, okay. What else is going on here in New York City? New York City schools want to rethink honor rolls deemed detrimental to students not making the grade. I know I'm just about out of time. I have one more left. Yeah, that's it. The Department of Education wants to, I guess, lower the bar. At least if you are an A student, you may not make the honor roll because I guess the C or the D student can't feel bad. That's what's going on. And that should be my last story of the night because it is 6 o'clock. Let me check in with Jade one more time. Jade, do the train walkers have anything coming up now? It's a couple of weeks. Arlene's Grocery again? Same time. What's the address again? All right. 95 Stanton Street, Arlene's Grocery. A pretty cool spot. You'll see the train walkers, all 37 of them. This little stage. So, how many people you have in these days? You still at 9 as you go, or you back and forth? So plan for 9 so far. Okay. So everyone check in with that. Go to jadezabrick.com for that, or trainwalkers.com for that. And I will be back next week. Everyone, if you want to write into me, it's upfrontfrank@gmail.com. upfrontfrank@gmail.com. If you want to talk to Jade about hiring her services for music, for production, anything else, it's jadezabrick@gmail.com. Again, she has a lot of .coms. As a matter of fact, you should have patented this phrase .com when you patented the idea of counting in the song, like 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. She got a lot of checks for doing that. When you're a musician, counting to 4 in a song, they got to pay a royalty to Jade, which means how many billions are you worth now? And that is the story. Don't forget, people, 1% of a lot can still be a lot. We'll get vaccinated. I'll see everybody next week. And that is the story. Okay. Have a good week. Have a good night. Bye.